Welcome back to 20 Minutes or Less. I'm Elliot Morgan, and I like the news.
I also enjoy the news, and I'm Joe Beretta.
You know who else likes the news, Joe? The New York Times. But unfortunately, they and other news outlets have to go through a rigorous, quote, approval process by top campaign officials on both the Republican and Democratic sides. In fact, quote, approval is, according to the article, commonplace throughout all of Washington.
So what is, quote, approval? It's exactly what it sounds like. A reporter finally gets that coveted interview with Mitt or Barack, and they record the whole thing, choose the snippets they like best, and then the reporter submits those quotes to the campaigns themselves for approval.
So that means that the words that end up in the papers after said interviews have been filtered by the people who want to make their candidate look the best. In other words, the interviews aren't really real. For example, a statement like this,
I f***ing hate peas.
might end up looking like this.
I do not enjoy particular legumes.
America.
1984!
Nowadays, with everyone freaking out over gaffes and Twitter having an uncanny ability to spread news, whether it's true or not, across the world almost instantly, politicians are demanding that if they're going to be interviewed, they get final say on the final product.
V for Vendetta!
Yeah!
Obama does it all the time. Romney does it too, even extending the process to include his 5 sons, which, side note, that's a lot of sons.
Yeah, 5.
Book of Mormon!
Romney's people require that they greenlight anything from a conversation that a reporter would like to include in an article, aka anything relevant, interesting, or stirring in any manner. The climate of quote approval is so widespread that politicians or government officials who want to speak without being filtered by anyone do so anonymously, calling themselves things like top Democrat or Republican strategists.
The Giver! It's a good book. Have you read it? The New York Times article cites Jim Messina, who is Obama's campaign manager and a notoriously foul-mouthed fellow, but none of that foul-mouthedness reaches any of his quotes. Weird.
And perhaps the scariest part of this article was this little snippet. It was difficult to find a news outlet that had not agreed to quote approval, albeit reluctantly. Organizations like Bloomberg, The Washington Post, Vanity Fair, Reuters, and The New York Times have all consented to interviews under such terms.
The Matrix!
Matrix?
Censorship robots.
Oh, right, yeah.
Dean Paquette, managing editor of The New York Times, stated, "We don't like the practice. We encourage our reporters to push back. Unfortunately, this practice is becoming increasingly common, and maybe we have to push back harder."
Under Obama, interview censorship has grown, with reporters being allowed to witness briefings and paraphrase what's said, but never use actual quotes or names. This happened after last month's healthcare ruling. They were allowed to listen to officials discuss what happened, but they weren't allowed to quote anything.
So why is this a big deal? Because as the internet continues to change almost every aspect of our lives, politicians are both talking more and restricting more. Back in the day, politicians and government officials weren't making speeches every 5 minutes, and they didn't have an internet attacking and nitpicking every single one of their words.
Excellent point, Joe, but this could be a slippery slope down the road of censorship if the stipulations put on reporters continue to grow. The job of a reporter is to just report the news as it happens, and that goes both ways. Reporters' main focus should not be on catching a politician in the act of saying something stupid, and politicians should be able to speak freely, knowing that when they are speaking to a reporter, they're essentially speaking to a living microphone.
That Apple commercial where the chick threw the hammer at the screen.
That was like 1987. You probably don't remember it, but
It was based on 1984. We just went full circle.
We're significantly older than you.
So is this a sign of the times or a dangerous road to censorship? Let us know in the comments square down below, and we will only kind of censor your posts.
Like, subscribe, annotation. We have 5 daily stories. I'm Elliot Morgan.
I'm Joe Beretta. Bye-bye.